Attah-Mensah, so, of course, Zoe has already narrated how we got to be involved. But what was going through your mind when all of that was happening, when the people came here? What was your...
No, I mean, when I saw the people, I actually thought it was a joke because they looked so unprofessional. I mean, they couldn't even speak English properly. They're not well dressed, unkempt as police people. And so I knew that I wasn't going to get anywhere. And that's the reason I asked Zoe to just take a seat. And I called them and asked them to go, and I will come with them.
When we got there, the meeting with Azugo was a very civil meeting. And I was under the impression that after meeting Azugo, that was the end of the issue.
Well, you see, these guys are still living in the past. And what I mean by past is, you know, the revolution days and how junior officers and no ranks people could just do anything anyhow. We still have a semblance of that structure lurking around in our security systems. So for them, it was a field day. We can do whatever we want to do before our superiors, are brought in, until they saw us. And so it was like a wake up. Oh, you are here. And you could see as you go, oh, sir, you are here. And that kind of, oh, so you are Bernard. Yes, this is it. And then he noticed that, no, this thing is beyond him now. So he said, please, then you should go and see my boss.
Who happens to be the...
It turned out to be the Colonel Ajiman.
On our way, he did not want to talk to us.
Yeah, because he had his mind made up. Again, something...
So he's the Director of Operations of National Security, is that the name?
Some position, I am not, I don't know, but
sure.
he's something...
So in your mind, you were going to simply say, what? Take the phone, take the pictures, and let's go away, or what?
To kind of understand what they were looking for.
Okay.
And he wouldn't listen to us. And the head of the guys in uniform is called Ampedu. He's a chief inspector. I couldn't even understand what he was saying, So I said, let's go and see your boss. And then we were met along the way by this this man called Colonel Ajiman, who was introduced to us as their boss. He wouldn't listen to anything. I tried to get his attention so that we can have a better understanding. He just walked off and also insisted that we should not follow, and that in his words...
Lieutenant Colonel Ajiman. So he didn't even have a chat with you?
No.
He wouldn't listen to you?
No. And so I said, and you heard me say, that I can understand that you are security guys and you are doing your work, but just take note that we are also media men who will do our work. But guess what? Today, when you are done doing your work, we will have a field day doing our work for a very long time, and you can't stop us.
But he still left. So that's when he went with Zoe and Caleb to the narration.
So when he left, we were minded to go beyond him
and call people
and call other people up the chain. And Edward Asmani responded to us. So
that's your savior?
That was my breath of fresh air.
And I would need to make this point. You see, governments in, governments out should understand how to package our security system, because nobody, and you don't need rocket science to know that today you are in power, tomorrow you are not in power. And the security system you establish while you are in power is the same security system you may fall victim to. We were hoping that 20, 30 years down the line, this primitive way of handling journalists and so-called suspects would have changed. And I thank God for so many very educated, in fact, very educated is an understatement. You know, as many highly educated gentleman, Oxford graduate, he has everything. And he was so decent I mean, the guy was so
when you spoke to him, did he know what had been? Did you get the impression he knew?
He said he had been informed, but he didn't have the details. So he made a call to somebody, and I could hear him speaking to the person, kind of briefed me what was going on.
So it means that he probably wasn't aware of what was happening.
Of course. I mean, at this level, he wouldn't have to be told everything like that, you know. And I'm telling you that what they do is that they delay so they can have a field day with their suspects. You understand? And I'm hearing for the first time how he was beaten.
So you didn't even know, because I thought that when the man in suit came, that was the end of the problem. But apparently it was...
No, so when eventually I demanded that I had to see him before I leave, at which point they led me to where he was, and I called you out of the place. The man actually said in my presence that, oh, the inmates are beating him and he doesn't want anybody to touch him again. So in front of me, he shouted across to the inmates that, Obi Odin Sabe Kanopa, Mema Chinese, Nina Bokufu, you know. So the man was tricking me. He looks at me and...
So that was when you realized that this is a serious...
you know. So I said, okay, don't worry. Let's deal with Zoe. We'll come back and deal with, you know. So went out and had a meeting with Asmani again. And I mean, I was just saying, so once the others see reason like you do, it makes your work difficult. If we are still practicing this primitive way of security, just body checking and beating people physically.
So did they actually talk to you to say what's going on? Or they were...
Nobody.
I mean, Bernard, the kind of people there, no, even if he explained, they won't understand. And that's Colonel Ajimai man, no, he's such a disappointment to national security. Such a disappointment. He won't listen to anything, and he was beating, kicking him in the groin. Are you okay? Who does that in 2021?
A wicked person.
A journalist, properly identified as a journalist. Yes, he may have done something inappropriate, but that's why they are the courts. If people do things wrong, they are processed for court. You don't go kicking his groin in the name of national security. In 2-3 years' time, this Ajiman guy will go on retirement, and God will judge you and your family. You will see. This thing, we shouldn't allow these things to happen. When we were fighting for this democracy, Ajiman, where were you? Today, you call yourself national security and come and be kicking people.
I'm sure people would want to know what we want to do with this, because at least now they've been released. But these details are now coming out, because obviously after yesterday, he had to go home, sleep and everything else. So he's now actually telling us what's going on. So we have to make I'm sure, they've heard, so we don't know whether we are going to...
But it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate that, look, they have to take action against this Colonel Ajman guy, because he's a disgrace to the government, he's a disgrace to the national security, and he's not fit for that job. And I'm saying it, he's not fit for that job. For this person to treat this young man like this because he has done something you consider inappropriate, this is why we fought for this democracy. Take him to court. This is what we are saying. Process him to court. This is what we call due process. Colonel Ajima, if you don't understand. So, yes, he's done something. We are not here to defend whatever he did. If he did wrong, he's wrong. Wrong is wrong. Process him to court. The due process of the law. Let it take it through.
Bernard, my father called me this morning. And he made me cry.
Why? What did he say?
He said at this point I should try and put the family first. And my father of all people would not say that. He is some humble pastor in somewhere, Church of Pentecost, and he called me and said, Charlie, put the family first. I'm like...
As in stop the work?
You know, because my dad will tell you to go all out, seek truth, pursue justice, seek fairness for everybody. For him to tell me that I should think about my family first. This morning I cried and I said, that means I should give up on this country, because if my father of all people can tell me that.
But what does he mean by saying that?
Yeah, say no. What I say?
Well, we've been trying to make sense of this very troubling story, and 24 hours after it happened, we have now brought you the details. We have seen a lot of the comments you are passing. It's a very emotive subject for us because of the details that Caleb has put out. Make of it what you want, but this is not the last you hear of this. Obviously, it will not be, because it's happened one too many times. And as you can see, the MD of the company is very upset, as of course all well-meaning people should be. It has to be only condemned. I have said on radio that the government's next actions will show whether they support what happened or not. So we wait to see. The ball is firmly in the court of the authorities. We would also do what we have to do on the basis of what processes the law has for us. So we'll see how that pans out as well. Thank you for watching tonight's edition of The Point of View. Caleb, commiserations to you, and thank you for doing your job as a journalist. And I'm sure you'll become the better off for it. Certainly you will.